in here. Who's your favorite?
Well, we have Reaper going up against his previous team. I really want to say, just based on composition, that I'm going to give it over to SK Telecom T1 just because of that Akali pick and that Lux. They can just put so much damage down, and we've seen Reaper and we've seen Suno on these champions before in day one.
Yeah, we can see that both teams on your screens looking very, very focused for this one. Of course, a spot in the final awaits the winner of this best of three. Going to be taking on CJ Enters Frost, who took down Gambit last night. Now, in a good game, a 3-game best of three, the first full best of three, I think we can say, up until now. But level 1, Jason, any action expected?
I wouldn't really expect anything from the first game of the best of three. It's really a different mindset between these best of ones. It's you have to kind of play a little safe, play a little comfortable in that first game, and then if you do lose, maybe pull something out in that second game. And both teams have, a decent level 1 fight, but I'd have to give it over to Telcom if they do want to go for that invade. But as you see, Starlash just going to ward up that Wraith camp and just try to make sure, and even spam dance next to the ward.
Why not? And we've seen a lot of Lulu out of Starlash as well, being quite happy to secure those kills, fitting in with the top supports these days who are more than happy to finish off they're more than happy to finish off the kills in the end there. So, what are we going to see here from the start? As we said, wards already down. A couple of wards already out for CJ Blaze there on the top side. There's that Explorer ward going to time out. Lustboy just putting himself another one down there on that curved bush. So, start from this one going to be Helios and Flame up on the top side. Going to be taking away those golems early on. We can see that Starlass and Raven are going to be taking walls, so that lane switch going to come around.
Yeah, it looks like we will, in fact, actually have Reaper middle yet again and soon go down towards that bottom lane 1v2 with his Lux. As Varus and Lulu up towards the top side against Rumble, who, Flamey, he doesn't have his cloth armor 5 pots, which he ran last time when he was playing Rumble, and that might be really bad for him because they have a lot of harass to really push him out of lane and really keep him low on that CS.
Well, let's see. Team's going to get themselves into the lanes. We see Helios there smiting off the red buff. Beelzehan hasn't used his smite yet, so he's going to be going over, getting that blue buff in there quickly. We'll see if they try for that obvious, in my opinion, 3-man gank into the lane there in those 2v1s, but we'll have to see how that all works out. Beelzehan there just doing that one. Captain Jack actually down in this bottom lane. Going to be trying to put as much pressure as he can on towards Suno and actually getting off the Piltover Peacemaker then. Looks very squishy in these early levels. That could be a problem for Suno. Yeah,
they're doing a great job so far, just harassing as much as possible. And not to mention, there is no ward on this bottom side of the map, so if Helios wanted to, he could come in for that gank. As you see Beelzehan going to be going in through the Baron pit, which is kind of a standard thing you do as Jarvan, but they have a nice ward down, and Flame is going to back off.
Yeah, we'll see what Flame does from this point on. Just firing out those harpoons. Ambition coming up towards his top side as well. So they're going to look to counter that early on, and maybe just the presence of Ambition there will be enough to send Beelzehan away. And actually we can see on the minimap there that he is actually walking down through the enemy jungle to get away.
Still, a lot of damage is done. I mean, he will be taking these wraiths, and if he gets them, it's going to help him out a little bit because he did leave that lane. He did miss out on a lot of CS and a lot of experience. And if Reaper hits 6 before him, he's going to have a really tough time in lane. As Helios just coming up here to defend this lane. I mean, we see this all the time. It's kind of common where a 2v1 lane in the jungle, either if he's not ganking that 3v1 or turning into a 3v1, he's just coming up there to defend that turret, which is already down to that half health.
Well, Beelzehan is actually taking away the golems here from Blaze. Let's see if he decides to get involved up in this top lane here on the action. There's a flag put down, but I'm not sure that they're going to go any further. They're quite happy just to be hammering away on this turret, and it is going to go down 4 minutes in. First turret going over to SK Telecom T1.
And let's see what they can actually pull off of this, because currently in their bottom lane, Suno is having a really rough time down there. He's sitting at that 8 CS to Caitlyn's 21. And they're just keeping that lane pushed up as much as possible. It looks like they might be able to get this tower too, as on this next wave or the wave after that. And just see on the top side, I mean, SK Telecom, they're not stopping. They're still pushing because no one else is coming up to help them in the top side, and they might be able to get a good chunk of damage onto this turret.
Yeah, I mean, tower pushing strategies we've seen very, very often so far at the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship. Doesn't look like SK Telecom are going to go for anything different with this one. I mean, they've pushed very, very early on through that. They're almost 1,000 gold in the lead after 4 minutes. That's a big deal, Jason.
Yeah, it really is. And I mean, they have the ability to keep pushing that top lane if they want to. However, they did back just to buy up. I mean, they could have kept Helios up there for as long as possible while no one else was switching around. But, you know, they need to help their bot lane. As you see Suno, that tower's going to go down very shortly. As we do have finally Raven and Starlass coming down into this lane.
Yeah, finally they will switch that one around. 1-1 in turrets. That brings us back even in the gold. And from this point on, we'll see how that one goes down. If we look through the CS then, 30 to 35 between the AD carries. Lux to Zed, 13 to 39. That is a huge, huge difference that Reaper is bringing forward right now. On the other hand, you've got Rumble with only 9 CS there, Flame, and 33 CS on the Akali. So those switches, okay, yeah, it's harming them in some ways, but also in the other side, also a good thing.
Yeah, it's really hard to compare it like this since you have Lux in the solo lane with Rumble. You have to, go the 13 to the 12, so they're not, they're pretty even so far. Lux actually picking up that tier, going to help out as the game progresses, but both of them losing that turrets at this point. And then we have, Reaper, but you're saying before that 35 to 46 in the mid lane, and he had that lane to himself for a little bit as, Ambition went up towards that top side, and he's still behind in CS. However, he is almost level 6, I believe, and that will really kind of give SK Telecom that idea to start fighting because Reaper gets so strong at that level 6.
Yeah, certainly does not being home to buy it just yet, but that may be coming in here in just a second. We talk about junglers, Jason, but to be honest, Jarvan has spent most of his time in the lanes here. Beelzehan looking like he's finally going to go back. Ambition coming down to try and help out with this bottom lane. Don't want to lose the second turret. Only 6.5 minutes in.
I do have to say though, I've been really impressed with Beelzehan's play over the first day and today. He's not necessarily aggressive. I mean, he can be one of those junglers where he can always be ganking and really pull off those kills, but he can also be really supportive, which you've seen happen so far. And it looked like SK Telecom was potentially going for Dragon just because they had everyone down towards that bottom side. They had the 3-man push on the bottom lane, and they had Flame just stuck in that top lane trying to farm that lane back out. But without that pink ward, they are going to back out, and we have Reaper going up towards this top lane.
Yeah, Reaper going to be going in there, but again, this bottom lane is still being pressured by Starlass and Raven, down to be low half HP there, and Helios also taking damage as he comes across. Beelzehan waiting in middle.
Ooh, this is bad.
Try and get in here on towards Ambition. The knockup will actually come in there, and they've just not quite got the damage at this stage to be taking out that Zed.
I think his Ambition is level 6, so if he wanted to go in on Suno, he could blow him up almost instantly. He does have a cloth armor though, so it has a little bit to help him up, maybe sustain that fight. But if he gets a little bit low, Ambition's going to go in with that Ignite and pick up that kill.
So Helios coming down, he's going to sneak through into those bushes. Let's see if he can actually get involved on the action. Will Starlass and Raven make a wrong footing in this one? Helios is still waiting there. Did hit the recall, but decided not to follow it through, and in the end he's now figuring that they figured out where he is, but actually they haven't. Helios going to come in here on towards Starlass, going to put some damage down, flash away, but they focus around on towards Raven. Can they actually take him down though? No. They see Beelzehan coming in here. He's going to flash, doesn't quite get the knock up there, and he's only level 5, so of course doesn't have that Cataclysm. And
Suno was heading down from that mid lane. Looks like they wanted to set up that ultimate. That's why he flashed in, trying to get that knock up. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for him. And now Suno's going to be pushed out of lane yet again, as Ambition's going to be free to farm that mid lane. But that was the first gank we've actually seen so far that actually happened. I mean, the rest of the time it's just been the junglers just supporting their solo lanes, but Dragon is being started off. And so far, SK Telecom has no idea.
Yeah, Dragon kicked off here. Captain Jack going to join him with Helios and Lustboy. Trying to take that one down. Ambition coming down from the middle lane as well. Beelzehan is actually on the backside, doesn't have Smite available at this point, so wouldn't even be able to get in there for that Smite steal anyway. And that will be Blaze picking up the Dragon. Here we go. Raven going to go very, very low. And there's the first blood. Ace in the hole comes out from Captain Jack. That's what Blaze were looking for.
Yeah, great play by them. Getting that Dragon. Oh, we see Ambition actually getting caught.
Wow. And didn't even really have time to say anything about that one because, well, that's the power of Lux. Gets up to level 6. Managed to land a full combo in there. We have Jarvan coming in to back up as well. Flame actually going in on towards Reaper here. Going to put the Ignite down, and they're going to go head to head. There's the Shroud put down. Is Reaper going to follow on with this one? Flame not exactly healthy either. And as Reaper comes through, realizes that Flame is too far away from him and doesn't go in. So 1-1, but good gold lead here from Blaze with that Dragon.
Yeah, and SK Telecom, they're still being very aggressive. They have that middle turret down to about 3rd health, same as the bot lane. They have the ability to just start, 3-4-man pushing these turrets down, getting some extra gold, since they currently are behind at this point. But, Flame has been doing a good job. He's caught back up in CS, so has Suno so far. And it's going to come down to the next couple of minutes, I have to say. Maybe like the next 5 to 10 minutes is where the game's really going to be decided, since SK Telecom have a really bursty team. They're trying to kill someone on Blaze's side and then turn it into a 5v4.
And they also here just taking away that red buff. got Sona Caitlyn now in that middle lane. So Captain Jack with that first blood on him. Got that Doran's Blade in there with the Berserker Grooves already. And he's going to go straight in, putting down a bit of turret damage. Ambition coming around the side here as well. Will they decide to go in? Reaper actually trying to force Captain Jack away. And he's done enough damage there to back them off.
And blue currently is up right now for SK Telecom. Luckily, they will be able to secure it over to Suno. That tier is already starting to stack up quite a bit, and we know how dependent Lux really is on that cooldown reduction. And that's just, I mean, if their ult isn't up, they're not going to want to start these team fights. But with that blue, it's going to help out quite a bit. And Ambition hasn't really gotten one ulti off just yet. We've seen Alex actually boss around Ryze in the mid lane quite often. And I guess that's just really due to Helios not really being able to gank much.
Let's have a look down the CSN. 84 to 76 is the difference between the AD carries, but Varus is still behind because of that first blow, because of the damage that they, because of the kill that they had on Dragon earlier on as well. Brutalizer in for Zed, and you saw there putting the damage in. Is Helios going to go in towards Reaper? He's going to flash away, but Helios going to follow through for this one. Reaper in some real trouble here. Is he going to go down? Yes, he is. Flame picks up the kill as they turn around on towards Beelzebub. Flame very healthy still as Zed comes in as well, and they manage to pick off Beelzebub. That's a kill for both Rumble and for Xin Zhao. That is another great play out of Blaze.
That was a great turnaround because Reaper was trying to bait them in for that for Bizahan to come in and get the kills, but great turnaround. Ambition helping out as well, picking up an assist right there with that brutalizer. You see Raven gonna get ulti in that bot lane. He was doing very well in the beginning. He got that first turret down on the top side, but Captain Jack's been able to just kind of push him out of lane at this point with the the poke that Sona has as well.
Yeah, and still behind though on CS. We have to mention that fact. Zed. Not Zed, as we look at Zed, but Varus has really done a great job of keeping this farm up here. Raven, of course, had his switch banned out in this game. We saw him earlier on in the tournament playing a fantastic Twitch. That was the turnaround game against Millennium, actually, which we saw yesterday morning.
Day one.
No, it was in the best three.
It's been a long day.
It was yesterday. As Lost Boy here, going to get caught out in the jungle. Beelzebub actually going to put the Cataclysm down as Captain Jack comes across. Here is Varus. Raven picks up the kill. And there is a light binding on towards Captain Jack. Can they get the finisher here? He is well below half health, but Helios and Ambition there in that middle lane is going to mean that at least for now he is safe. There's a pink ward as well in the middle lane.
They're going to make a play on this middle turret right now because Reaper's coming down from that top side. The turret's already low as it is, and they should be able to pick this up, and there's really nothing Blaze can do with this, so they're going to have to concede it away unless they want to fight without having Lustboy.
Well, I'm not sure that they will. And actually, as I say that, they do decide to dive in there. Beelzebub going very, very low. There's a flash that's coming across. Beelzebub, is he going to be finished off? Yes, he is. There are two kills coming around. Finally, we get one back from Reaper, but he's sandwiched between two people here. Suno also going to be taken very, very low. Exhaust comes onto Reaper. Captain Jack will go low, but is he going to die from the ignite? No, he's not. He survives.
And wow, from a 5-man mid push, they actually turn it around, getting a 4-for-1 in the end. Great play by Blaze right there. Really great control in that team fight overall.
Great stuff coming out of Blaze. There's Captain Jack. Just saw him backing away. Surviving with very, very little help. Middle turret here going to be pressured down by Blaze. And to be honest, I'm not sure if they're going to be able to save this one. Varus, Lulu, and Jarvan coming up towards it. And with the presence of Varus, they may be able to back it off, but Blaze stay. They pick up turret number 2.
And Helios is being chased down. Looks like they actually will be able to get the kill on him.
Yeah, Helios actually going to dive in there towards Raven, but chances of him getting away from this are very slim. Will go down in the end. That is the second kill for Raven.
Yeah, great job by SKT to actually let him have that kill as well, because looking at the spread that Blaze has, having 2 on that Rumble, 2 on Xin, 1 on Zed, and 2 on Caitlyn, it couldn't get more perfect than that for him.
Now, though, SK Telecom coming straight back. They take the middle outer turret as well, so really fast, crazy game at this point. Blue buff going to be given over here in towards Lux. And then Dragon coming up in just 20 seconds. Let's see what they do with this one. Blaze going to be pushing this top lane with Ambition Zed. They get that turret nice and low, but will they lose out on a Dragon from this one? Actually, pings going down from Blaze towards Dragon, saying we need to get in position for this one because it's going to be coming up very soon. Reaper is the only real one around there as a ward gets put down. Reaper just spotting that one, but the Dragon has spawned. Are Blaze going to try and pull it out? In the end, they decide not to. Here's Reaper going to go in on towards Captain Jack, but backs away straight off that on when you saw the Sin and Sona coming into backup.
And Joe, looking at Ambition so far, he's sitting at 142 CS, that 1-2-2 score. He's really becoming a force to reckon with. Like, when you have so many squishers on your team with Reaper, with Suno, with Raven, and even Starlast, he has that potential to just completely one-shot you with his entire combo. And if that happens, you're going against a 4v5 with a steady Rumble damage, steady Xin damage, and Caitlyn, who's already 2-0-3, just hammering away at you from the back line.
Well, right now, SK Telecom have, in fact, managed to jockey Blaze out of position. All 5 men here in the middle lane, so we'll see if they go down towards this Dragon area. Helios and Flame are both there as well. Lustboy just coming in to give them some backup. No one carrying pink wards at this point, so there's no real opportunity to clear out that Dragon area.
It's a little surprising, actually. I mean, because you have Blaze, they're trying to be really aggressive, take these objectives, and they're against an Akali, so if you have a pink ward and you fight around that, you can pretty much pick Reaper off right off the bat.
Well, right now, Reaper is trying to pressure Ambition. We are going to see the Lux combo coming in. Here comes a laser. Suno picking one up. Flame is actually stuck there inside the Cataclysm as the equalizer comes down. Varus ultimate will go off. Great light binding coming out of Suno. And Helios is going to be going low. Raven picks up the killing spree there by taking out Rumble. And we have also, well said, trying to escape in the end. There is Caitlyn going down. And that is a ace, a 1-for-5. Brilliant fight out of SK Telecom.
Yeah, it was amazing. They caught Lustboy off guard, completely destroyed him. He didn't even get the crescendo off, and he had Reaper come around from the backside and just demolish him one by one. Blaze didn't even know what hit him right there. Great play, an ace for 1 kill. And Dragon, I mean, can it get better than that?
Yes, they could have taken Baron and 5 turrets afterwards, but you know that's obviously never going to happen. But 9-8 in kills, 23.7 to 25.3. So Blaze, despite being behind in the kills, losing that last dragon, being aced as well, they are still up in the cash. Warmog's picked up though as, the side of that Hex Drinker here for Akali on the other side. Sorcerer's Shoes haunting guys. Giant Spell and an Amp Tome coming out for Rumble, who is just about ahead in the CS. In the middle lane, we see Zed 152 to 86. That's a big, big lead. But also, on the other hand, Varus 140 to the 108 of Caitlyn.
You know, you mentioned the Warmong picked up for Reaper, and I really like that item because, you know, in these fights, Akali's typically will be focused down, and with a Xin Zhao, he could be pushed back into the enemy team, like even further. So he's building kind of tanky. He'll still have a lot of damage on top of him, and he's trying to allow himself to just get more sustained damage in, as you already have, you know, Raven and Suno as potential targets. So he kind of eliminates himself from that, and he should be really, really good at zoning Captain Jack.
Because I'm not going in there as Ambition. He's going to dive on towards Raven Cleanse Use, but there you see the burst potential. That was like half HP just gone. Just absolutely taken away there, as we are going to see Captain Jack coming in on towards Suno. Can they manage to pick up the kill here? We go towards his top lane as Flame going actually very, very low. Beelzebub going to jump back in there. He will die. That cost him his life there. And in the end, it will end up being a 2-for-2.
And kills going down across the map, but Blaze, they're pushing down this mid turret. No one is there there to defend it at this point. No one has home guard boots on SK Telecom, and they're getting a nice split push on, going to get a lot of damage onto that mid and bottom turret. And these are really crucial turrets, especially that middle one. If you lose that, you lose a lot of control of your jungle.
Yep, I was Helios just getting light binded up, but Captain Jack is just going to be hammering away on the turret. There is turret number 5.
Oh, they get both of them, wow.
As they get that bottom one as well. And yeah, I expected them to maybe get one out of the 2, but both of them, that's a really great play out of Blaze.
Yeah, and Blaze are building a really nice advantage. They have a lot of guild built up as well across all their members, and we just saw how deadly Ambition was right there. I mean, he just completely destroyed Raven. If he can do that every single fight, they're going to win these team fights really easily. And we have Reaper coming down towards his bottom side. Looks like they want to chase them down, and instead he actually goes towards his double columns.
3,000 gold is the difference right now. SK Telecom behind in gold, still have the kill lead, but are 5-2 in turrets at this stage. If you look down the gold between the players, 6,700 to 5,700, 1,000 gold lead for Rumble in the top lane. In the middle lane, it's a 1,300 difference between them. The AD carries, we still have Varus in lead just because, you know, 3 kills in there, 4 assists, and also got a nice CS lead.
And he's pretty much an item ahead of Captain Jack at this point, but like we were saying before, if he gets dove on, he has no real solid escape mechanism, minus that ultimate and that flash. And Starless is going to pretty much be forced to protect him with that ultimate, and not to mention the glitter lens, just to keep him alive. Ambition, I wouldn't be surprised if he builds maybe a little bit tanky, just knowing that if he isn't able to one-shot Raven, he's going to have to sustain some damage, but so far he's just building straight damage.
Shift picked up there along with the Bloodthirster for Varus on his last trip home. We have the Zeal and the Bloodthirster right now on Caitlyn. So we're going to a little bit of a quiet period as both teams figure out exactly what they need to do in these coming moments to, well, either push their gold lead or get that gold lead back towards even in SK Telecom's case. There's Raven taking the red.
And at this stage of the game right now, Suno can one-shot Captain Jack and Lustboy. We saw it actually just happen where he completely destroyed Lustboy, but they have that ability to, if they want to go for it, they land that nice light binding. If they can siege with the blue buff on them, they should be able to take a couple of turrets and really just create a giant opening for themselves, especially with, you know, with Beaselhand going in if he wants to get, if he lands any knockups, it's going to create a really nice, easy light binding.
Reaper heading towards his bottom lane. Actually, the turret is quite low there. Ambition is hanging around with that blue buff, and as Reaper spots him, he realizes as well, I'm 2 levels behind. They probably can't take that 1 versus 1 there.
Oh, yeah, Blaze coming down.
Yeah, Blaze coming down to this one. They're going to try and head off Reaper, but will they be quick enough to get into position? Reaper actually going to go away. Ambition going to go in onto him. No, this is going to be a full-on push as a pink ward goes down as well. Ace in the hole coming around. Not going to be blocked. Here comes Helios from the side. This is surely a kill. Shut down there. Nicely worked from Blaze.
Yeah, great communication as well. I mean, Ambition was just chasing him down. Not sure if he wanted to commit to it, but once he saw his team coming in, goes in, gets that slow, and Reaper, he cannot really afford to die right now. He is their tanky front line with that Jarvan, and now Blaze should be able to push up if they want to, or they can go for Dragon in about 40 seconds.
Well, the fact that they've got these 2 middle turrets down means that they're going to want to keep a full stranglehold on the jungle already, and that's exactly what we've been seeing from the team so far here in the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship. Once they get those turrets down, they've done a great job of keeping vision high. Lustboy also does have the Oracle running at this point as well, so that will only further add to what they can see, and what, maybe more importantly, SK Telecom T1 can't see.
Yeah, and it looks like they're not going to go for that Baron at all. They do have an Oracle on Lustboy, so we were just talking about the vision and really denying it away from the other team in their jungle. That will help out when they finally start to make that push, as we have a lot of wards down for SKT, just trying to control that as well. And they know they have those turrets down, and they have to defend it. Dragon is up right now, and it looks like SKT might pick this up.
Yep, SK Telecom going to be going in for that one. Blaze not really too worried about it by the looks of things. So, well, Dragon's gone down. Okay, that would have given us a nice bit of gold if we'd have taken him, but on the other hand, we'd not risk anything by going in there, maybe a man down or what have you. They're going to end up losing that one, but it keeps SK Telecom in there with a chance to come back on this game. But Blaze moving down that middle lane with all 5 men. So they want to keep that vision high, so they're going through the jungle. And there is a ward right next to the blue buff, which Lustboy is going to take down. And that's what we've been talking about again, this whole stranglehold of keeping things away. Is Reaper and Ambition going to go head-to-head. Ignite was used there by Reaper, which, I mean, if they weren't going to fight head-to-head, Ambition, you know, just backed away. Ignite goes down, he'll say, well, no Ignite for you in that next fight. That's fine by me. He's just going to be running the pots to heal himself back up. He obviously has that Blade of the Ruin King plus a Black Cleaver at this stage.
I mean, it was a little bit of a scare tactic with that Ignite going down, but I love what Blaze is doing at this point, because they've had that top lane pushed out the entire time, and they've been making plays on the bottom lane. Now they finally got those bottom turrets, they got the 2 middle ones as well, and they're starting to go for that 4-man push on the top side. They do have 1 outer turret remaining, so they're really in the driver's seat at this point, but Suno, without that blue buff, he needs that. He has no form of sustain at this point. The tier regen's not really going to kick in too much, and that's really going to hurt them. They need to secure one. If they do that, then they easily can win these team fights.
Right now, Ambition headed down towards the bottom lane just to clear out. There's a big wave of minions, which would probably do a lot of damage to that turret, but also there's plenty of farm as well. We've seen And what I'd say is a relatively early Quicksilver Sash coming out of Varus here at 25 minutes into it. Baron was started there by SK Telecom as they sought the Z in that bottom lane, but in the end they decided, okay, we're not going to be able to take it down quick enough. They're actually pretty low level still. I mean, Varus level 14, Suno level 13, as Bielzian actually very, very low here in the jungle. He's going to slide himself away, flashes out as well. Needed to with Ambition coming in.
That's a great pickup though for Blaze. Having that flash down means he can't just cataclysm into that backline on the Captain Jack and Lustboy and just lock them down. So Captain Jack able to keep that flash up for a later time, and not to mention they're trying to start off Baron, but they're trying to bait it in because they have an Oracle. Doesn't look like they spotted that ward. Wow. I was actually expecting a little bit less damage, but almost killing Captain Jack with that full combo right there. We have Ambition going in the mid lane.
Yeah, Ambition going very, very deep here. Going to get killed off by Reaper. Definitely wasn't the right choice coming out of Blaze.
Well, that QSS actually paid off really well for a Raven right there. You saw him cleanse off that ultimate out of Ambition, and that burst that comes after that couple of seconds really can catch you off guard, and it allows him to save that Lulu ultimate potentially, because that's one thing that's really getting Raven killed is that extra 30% damage that comes in after.
What are we going to see? There is Suno going in on towards Lustboy. Of course, he used that laser in the last fight. Not quite ready yet off the cooldown. But SK Telecom T1 looking for the inner middle turret. This would be a great pickup for them. We'll bring them back to 5-3.
Blazes Blue is up. If they can take this, this would be great for SK Telecom, and I think they are. Yes, they will. They'll head for it.
Well, Suno certainly needs that blue. He's had problems securing his own in the past here. But with that happening, Blaze are like, well, we're just going to push straight down middle, and you take our blue buff if you want it. Suno did pick that one up. Blaze going to push that middle lane back. Raven here have himself a red buff away. As we talked about, already got the Bloodthirster and that Shiv with the Quicksilver Sash in there, so make sure that he can get rid of everything running both Quicksilver Sash and the Cleanse as well.
I'm curious to see if Suno's actually going to build that Zhonya's as his item, or maybe go for that Death Cap next. I'm not sure if he feels like he needs to commit to that damage to be able to one-shot someone on the other team, or if he needs that sustain in these fights. With that blue, he probably has that sustain, but I guess we'll see what he builds up eventually, as he's back with about 1,800 gold.
Going to be headed back shortly. Just wanted to get things sorted out on this bottom lane. Flame up at the top lane. Varus was up there. Flame just to wait things out. Going to be taking himself that wave of minions that are coming in. Reaper as well. If you look down the CS, still Rumble got an advantage over Akali middle lane Zed. We call it an advantage. It's actually really not even comparable at this stage. I mean, that's 100 CS almost that Zed has overlooked. 10,000 gold point already reached here by Ambition to the 8,500 of Lux.
And you can see just with how strong the mid laners, and I say that with quotation marks because obviously Lux was in the mid lane, but between Lux and Zed, you could just see that how strong they are right now, how it's affected each team, because we have Captain Jack picking up that Negatron cloak because he has to survive that burst that Suno can potentially put out, and Raven same with the Quicksilver Sash, has to get rid of Ambition's ultimate just to stay alive. So that's just really the snowball effect of one lane getting ahead and how it can affect your AD carries, even your supports and tanks.
Well, Ambition here going in towards the jungle. Starlass got that Oracle on, but he's a little bit worried about actually taking that one down there. Didn't want Blaze to jump in on top of him. Flame going to be pushing straight through that middle lane, through the top lane, sorry, at this point. Obviously, only the inner turret left in that one, and you know, with 28 minutes in, that's the only inner turret left at this point as well for SK Telecom.
And it looks like Dragon's gonna be the next point of fighting here, as we have everyone heading down from both teams, and I'm trying to think who has a stronger team fight at this point. I think it all comes down to who really gets that first catch. If Suno obviously lands on life binding, it's going to create the opportunity for them, but if Ambition can get in there and Helios can get a nice ultimate off to set his team up for a very easy fight, and Dragon is now up. I'll say SK Telecom are going to go for it.
Couple of big items coming out. The Rooney Bulwark is finished for Blaze, plus Crystal Scepter on Rumble as well. He's got Leandra's and the Scepter. There we go. We are going to see the laser coming out, flash away from Lustboy as the Cataclysm comes out. And there's Ace in the hole, going to pick up a kill. But that may be just the only one. But we see Blaze starting to collapse in onto Suno as well. And that is 3 kills right off the back of it. Reaper going to try and get himself some more in as Ambition goes very, very low. That Ignite ticking away, but they get the kill before he can finish it. And that will be the 8th for Blaze.
And that was an 8 Blaze was Suno trying to burst down Lust Boy. Unfortunately, wasn't able to get that, and Lust didn't even use his ultimate that entire fight, and so they came out so far ahead to have quite a bit of and just not catch up, heal up, and apply pressure down there, and that should be the free Baron for them.
Yeah, if we look down the score as well, Rumble 5-2-7 Flame, having a good game of it so far, but the AD carried Caitlyn 4-1-7 as well. I mean, that's an impressive score at this point in the game, which they're going to be looking to move on. I guess we wouldn't really expect anything else out of Captain Jack, as we are going to be seeing a pause out of SK Telecom, just as Blaze are doing Baron.
And apparently Bizahan's keyboard isn't working, which, you know, you might need that, you know, when it comes to a team fight, so that's understandable.
You might need that at any point during the game, I suppose. Without a keyboard, you're not doing so well. I mean, he managed to type /pause, which is interesting, since his keyboard's not working.
I think it might be someone else's keyboard, so he's talking for them. I don't know.
Well, you'd at least figure so, right? Since he was the one that typed keyboard not working. But either way, SK Telecom going to have the admins behind there just to give them that helping hand to get things finished. But we can take a look here, almost 30 minutes into the game, 16-13 in kills for Blaze, 46.1 to 40.9 thousand gold, 5-2 in turrets as well. At this point, you can probably say that this is Blaze's game to lose.
Yeah, I mean, with how far ahead they are, I mean, they have such a perfect kill spread on their team. Like the 5 kills on Flame, the 3 kills on Helios, the 4 on Ambition, and the 4 on Captain Jack. Like, they have a perfect spread of and the amount of gold that is distributed across the entire team. You have Ambition, who's fairly strong at this point, starting to build a little bit tanky. He's getting his Giants belt in, but you know, with a tanky Rumble already, you already have Helios, who's extremely strong with that Runic Bulwark, not to mention a Giants belt on top of that as well. They just have a strong front line that SK Telecom doesn't really have the ability to deal with. They don't have a strong front line to kind of counter that. They don't have an AD carry that's super fed at this point, which, you know, he has some pretty good items, but he was forced to go to that Quicksilver Slash, so it's delaying his build a little bit. Yeah,
and that with the cleanse in there as well. I mean, that's heavy investment in the defensive side of things for Starlast. Hopefully, we should be coming into this one here pretty shortly. SK Telecom staying focused. Admins behind them working to fix this one up, but Raven is going to unpause the game. We're going to get back into it, and as we said before, Blaze are currently doing the Baron.
And taking Baron.
And taking the Baron.
And they have a lot of gold to spend. Flames sitting on 1,800 at this point, Helios on 1,300, Ambition on 1,500, and Captain Jack on 1,900. So curious if we're going to see a QSS maybe come out of Captain Jack, or maybe a Banshee's Veil, just so we can dodge one of the light binds or something like that. But with this Baron, we should see a nice strong push from Blaze, as they only have that 1 outer turret remaining on that top side. And Caitlyn does in fact go for that QSS. 2 QSSs coming out in the same game. We've not really seen much of it this tournament. Maybe even the first time that we've been seeing that Quicksilver Slash. Obviously, we have seen a lot of games here off stage during the group stages as well, so you can, I'm sure, forgive me if I'm a little bit off the mark with that comment. But what else have we got going in there? Hex Drinker and the Giant's Belt added in for Zed. Also the Giant's Belt, Warden's Mail for Xin Shao. A needlessly large rod coming in for Rumble as well. I mean, Rumble at this point is ridiculously strong with those items. Yeah, he is. I mean, he's going to be putting out a lot of damage overall, not to mention that ultimate, which really gives them the ability to chase or disengage if they want to. It does so much damage, but you know, he's up against Reaper, who has pretty much a straight tank build at this point. He's 6-4-1, but he doesn't really have a lot of damage. He doesn't have the potential to burst down Captain Jack, and that's kind of just based around how the game's developed and what Telecom has needed to win these fights. So, what Blaze going to do, actually, Reaper going to be cornered off here by Flame going in there. There's the equalizer coming down. Flame Spitter going to be doing its job. It doesn't matter if Reaper's invisible. He's still taking damage. Ace in the hole. Going to be blocked out there by Beelzebub. But Blaze are going to be closing in on towards that top inner turret. And Ambition, I mean, he's just split pushing at this point, and they're going to have to send someone to deal with him. It looks like they might potentially send Reaper, but if they do that, Blaze is going to have a nice 4-man push. They have that siege potential out of Captain Jack, not to mention that crescendo if they do get engaged upon. And SK Telecom, They're not looking too good on this game. They started out very solid, I really have to say, and they kept doing that as well. But with the Baron being in the other team's hands, I would see Starless getting caught.
Oh, that's not what they need at this point. Helios actually coming in there. The rest of the team from SK Telecom are able to react quick enough to stop that support player going down. Starless going to probably be backing away completely from that one. Blaze still pushing through that top lane. I mean, they've got Baron buff on after all. They're the team that are going to be looking to cement that lead that they have at this point. Can they finish off?
This might be a key moment right here. They know Ambition's in the mid lane. They know he's there split pushing. If Reaper wants to engage on this fight, they could do a 5-man fight onto Blaze and most likely win that engagement as well. But they are pushing that top side, and Ambition looks like he might be coming around to help out.
Well, Captain Jack already hammering away here. Actually, I think the light binding did just land in towards Captain Jack. And here we go. Fight going to kick off. We've got Ambition right in the middle of them. Wild Growth goes down. A lot of damage coming out as Flame will pick off Raven. There we see Lux just backing away. Beelzebub going to be the next target. Crescendo comes out of Lust Boy. Double kill coming down for Flame. Obviously, the turret did die in there as well, finally. And Blaze picking up 2 kills. For not a lot of health even lost.
Yeah, and Joe, the full combo from Suno went off on a Captain Jack, but it just did not do enough damage. He's probably about half health, and that's the downside to having like a Lux. I mean, he got fed very early on, but if the enemy team can survive that initial burst, then you're going to pretty much win these fights, as we do have him split pushing a little bit. Ambition going down towards that bottom side. Should be able to get this turret with that nice huge minion wave, and the rest of his team's going to be pushing that top side.
Well, you say a little bit of split pushing, but quite a lot, actually. They were in the middle lane. They finished off this top turret. Finally, they are going to go in. Starlass forced to flash away. Flame goes in. There is Lust Boy going very, very deep. And they've done a lot of damage there. Turret taken in the bottom side. Inhibitor goes down in the top lane. And Blaze doing everything that they need to do with this one. This middle turret may even end up getting taken down. Ambition was tanking it up. Flame going to be focusing on 2 here by Reaper and shut down.
I still think in the end that was completely worth it, getting that inhibitor and that inhibitor turret on the top side, the inhibitor turret on the bottom side. Going to have the Supermans pushing down the top, and then they could always go for that bottom push, but Ambition's been, you know, like we've been saying before, split pushing the entire time, going down at the bottom side of the map. Dragon will be up in about 25 seconds. And SK Telecom, they're barreling down the mid lane, but I don't think they're going to be able to take this. Actually, sorry, they should be able to take this turret, as it's already really low on life, but that's about it. They might be able to turn a Dragon off the back of this.
Yep, Starlass just going to tank it up for the couple of hits it's able to do before it is finished off. SKT now moving in towards that inhibitor turret.
They're
they
going
need to be really careful here, as we are going to see Helios going, puts his ultimate down. Are we going to see this fight going the way of SK Telecom? Ambition going to put a lot of damage down, with the Cataclysm locking the rest of his teammates in there. But that is 2 kills for Blaze. Here comes a laser across, finally finished off. It's Starlass that gets a kill. Double kill though for Zed. Captain Jack focusing in on towards Raven as well. Light Binding will actually lock him up there, get the kill as well. Now we have Sona chasing on to Suno, and will they get this one? Another nice light binding. They're chasing in. Flame coming in as well. 3, 4, 4 at this point. This could well be the ace. Brilliant light binding comes out of Suno. There is the slow as well, but they're still chasing in. They want this one.
But it doesn't matter, Joe. As long as they keep chasing him down, they're preventing him from backing away. The Superman's pushing down that top side of the map currently, and Visahead finally going to be up in about 9 seconds. Overall, that was a 3 for 4 trade, and it looks like they're still going to commit to this. They want to get blood.
Well, there. Oh! Harpoon finisher. Nicely done. It would have only been better if there was a fish of some point, of some type that got harpooned at the end.
Or a whale.
Or a whale.
Anyways, Blaze.
Fish.
Anyways, Blaze is going to be taking this Dragon now. The gold lead getting even further, sitting at about 8,000 gold at this point. And they have these 8 turrets to 4. I mean, it was an interesting play at a Telecom. They wanted to get that mid inhibitor down to kind of counter up the top, losing in the top, but they were already down so much gold. Baron did wear off Blaze, and that maybe, you know, what started this whole fight, but they could not win it. I mean, we saw Helios just extremely tanky. He was able to separate everyone. Ambition with great play out of him. Actually took down, I believe that was Reaper. Yes, it was Reaper. Okay.
So, red buff here going to be taken away by Captain Jack. We have a 23 to 17 kill lead at this point. Gold creeping up to that 10,000 gold mark. 8-4, of course, in turrets, with that 1 inhibitor down in the top lane. Middle inhibitor not taken in the end by SK Telecom. There's a pink ward by Baron. And we are going to be seeing the next play coming in for this one. Actually, double pink wards put down there by Lustboy, wanting to really make sure that they've got vision there, although they do anyway have an Oracle on Ambition. So maybe not quite needed as they've used it there, but either way, that Oracle is going to be helping massively to reduce the vision that SK Telecom have over the top side of their jungle. It's going to mean that, you know, Blaze can make the play on that Baron, and SK Telecom are going to have to play a little bit risky to come in there without the vision.
Oh, Starlash trying to go for steal there. Unfortunately, he did miss. And I love the items that Blaze has at this point. You have the Riley's Crystal Scepter on Flame. And you have 2 Randuins on the team as well. So you're going to have the enemy team permanently slowed, not to mention the attack speed slowed down as well. So they have a lot of control in these fights, and that's all they really need to do. Mizuhan, his ultimate... The use of it has kind of fallen off as you have Zed, who's very mobile. You have Caitlyn, who can get out as well, and Zen, who can knock you out of your own trap. So Jarvan not working out so well in the late game. Wasn't really able to make much off it in the early game as well, since he was just, you know, going for the support pushing. But still, SK Telecom, they don't want to go out without a fight.
We've got the last Whisper added in there as well for Caitlyn, and another BF sword. So definitely doing the business with that one. There's the pink ward helping out. We can see down in towards the base that the minions are so ridiculously pushed right now. Super minions already hammering away there on the Nexus. So it's Akali has gone down to help, but Blaze seeing that is just going to say, well, that's fine. We're just going to go in here towards the Baron. The laser comes across very early on, which is obviously not going to be resulting there in the steal. How healthy is the Baron at this point? Can't quite see its health. There we go. It's going to go down. Picked up by Blaze, but in the meantime, in the base, the Super Minions really doing the work, and they've managed to take down one Nexus turret without being in the base here, Blaze. And the second one also losing more than half health. This could actually be the finisher right here.
Yeah, such a perfect play by Blaze. They took out all the vision away from SK Telecom, so they had to go over there and face check it just to see if Baron was being taken. But in the meantime, like you're saying, many waves are pushing into their base, took down that one Nexus turret, took out an inhibitor as well. They do have the top one respawning, but still, no inhibitor turrets left, only one turret left for them overall. This looks like Blaze's game.
Oh, Captain Jack going to be initiated onto. There is the Cataclysm coming down. Going to lock only Lustboy up, but they've turned this one around here. Kill for kill at the moment. But here comes Flame, adding that Flame Spit. There's so much damage coming out. Varus actually did get the ulti down, but Elzihan is going to fall. Reaper going low. There is Ambition low as well, but they should be able to finish that one off before he dies. And that is 3 kills already for the one of Blaze. They've got that Baron buff on. They're going to be regenning, and they're going to finish off the third and final inhibitor as a laser comes across on towards Flame. Starlash, though, will just be taken out of the fight. They've taken down the second Nexus turret. The Nexus itself going to be focused on. There is Azonya's out of Flame, and CJ enters Blaze, going to pick up game number 1 here.